You're wrong. I'm okay.
Wait, Uber is Nazi supporters?
Where did the babies come from?
Welcome to Unethical Podcast.
At just 12, these two girls nearly took another classmate's life. Last May, they boarded
A fellow passenger on a Greyhound bus faced walking the streets of Winnipeg, unsure the decision is causing concern. Innocent is schizophrenic and was found not criminally responsible.
before they were exonerated in 1993.
This. Oh, okay. Got it.
Got it.
I'll close my door.
Recording in progress.
I'm leaving.
Yeah, we got Darron Wood with us from Defense Diaries podcast, guesting with us today, which is awesome. It's good to have Darron on the show. We had him on Private Dicks, but I want to have him on the main show. I was going to bring you in with Bob, but I was like, fuck that. Bob can be on. I was going to question Bob. You're going to come on a fun episode. Instead of hearing
Bob
about Gacy
doesn't
again.
like for the public to know that I outshine him.
It's so classic though, right? Bob's the face and you're the brains.
I mean, yeah, but only because, like, by happenstance, his face is available more. Not because it's better.
I didn't
Yeah.
say that.
No, I was just, look, man, I wanted Bob to hear me say that.
Yeah, you can't reverse
Oh, he
it.
will.
You can't do it. The only reason you're the brains and he's the face is because if you were the face, who would be the brains?
Exactly.
Take that, Bob. I don't know how we want to get into this, but I was thinking, like, you got you talked about Gacy for an entire season. I kind of want to talk about that for a second. Talk about Gacy for an entire season. I am bringing you on an episode with a guy that I think is worse than Gacy in a lot of ways. I think he's probably one of the worst people that's ever lived. That's a bold statement, you know.
Well, I don't know who it is yet, so I need to.
Exactly.
What?
Exactly.
Yeah. So when I know who it is, I'll be able to be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the edge of my seat. I am
Yeah.
ready for the Elohim to come and resurrect him
Yeah,
that
exactly.
they can
The
execute
ticket
him
buys the
again.
whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge.
If you guys do catch on who it is before I get to the reveal part, go nuts, say it. I'm just not going to agree.
It's
to
obviously
everything that you
Jesus,
guys-
right?
Yes.
It's Jesus.
Yes, it's Jesus. You got me. Fine. Episode over. Hail Satan, and let's call it a night. Yeah. I got a question for you guys then. If I told you that one of the worst, if not the worst person, in my opinion, that's ever lived, where do you think that person would be from? What country am I bringing you to today? Let's just see if you guys can guess. See who's.
Can we get a country, or do we have to pick a country too?
Just pick the country, and I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. I want to see what country you think the worst people come from. That's what I'm trying to do right now.
Colombia.
Colombia, okay, that's a good guess. They do some fucked up shit out there. What do you got, Darron?
Where are real bad white people from?
Quebec.
Nice.
Quebec.
It's a great Ween album.
All right. Well, we're going to Austria
Why are you
today.
assuming it's white? Why are you assuming it's a white guy?
I'm just not going to point the finger at anybody else, man. You know?
Oh,
Yeah,
can I
no,
change
that's
my
true,
answer?
yeah.
I'm not doing it. That's why I said I'm going to let her fall for this first.
We're going to Austria. It's Austria.
Damn, I was thinking Austria. Fuck.
Yeah, Austria. Homeland of Arnold Schwarzenegger and the inventors of the sewing machine.
And white
First
folk.
postcards were sent in Austria and white folk. Today, we'll start off by meeting a guy named Joe. Joe was born on April 9th, 1935. The Austria they don't talk about, that's when he was born, the Nazi Austria. Joe Sr. wasn't a substantial figure in Joe's life. He was actually kicked out by his wife, Maria, for cheating on her all the time. This is when Joe was about 4 years old. So he never really met his dad that much because his dad later died fighting as a stormtrooper in World War II for the Nazis. So fuck Joe Sr. Good night, Joe Sr. Piece of shit.
Hey, he's a veteran.
He's a veteran. That's right. Oh yeah. We have to respect the good veterans. The Nazi veterans,
No.
we don't have to respect them. Do we have to
Not
respect
according
Nazi
to the
veterans?
1-star reviews, we don't. All dead veterans matter.
Okay, I'm sorry. I guess, cool. Nazi veterans. I'm sure. I don't even know what to say now. You got me fucking frazzled for that. I don't want to support Nazis, but you're right. The 1-star reviews don't like me making fun of veterans, so I don't know what to say anymore.
Hashtag all dead veterans matter.
I said let's not base our decisions off the 1-star reviews, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good idea.
A little late for that.
His whole life, he just lived only with his mom, Maria. She was a Nazi era German single mom. So just fucking think of that. Tough as nails. She raised Joe with a certain structure and discipline in his life. She wasn't like the hugging your kids type. She was more like the beat your kids' ass until they act the way you want them to type. You know, those moms.
Sure.
She also berated him with insults all day long, terrified him a lot. The only thing they did together, though, that Joe says later in life, the only thing they ever did together was go to church. Everything else, she was like never with him, always on his own, but church. So Jesus is the bad guy. You figured it out early on, Darren.
Be here all night.
Here all night.
Why is Jesus the bad guy? He united a son and his abusive mother
That's true. But
for
Jesus,
1 day a week.
Wait, what?
that's the only thing that the bitch of a mom would bring him to. So obviously Jesus is the most evil thing. She's not very nice to him at all. She beats him and stuff. But the only time she ever hangs out with him is because of Jesus. There's got to be something bad going on.
Thanks, Jesus.
Are you saying that she brought him to Jesus so that Jesus could molest him?
Yeah, sure. Why not? All right.
Loose interpretation. A loose interpretation.
Yeah. He called himself later in life. He calls himself as an alibi child, meaning that his mom only had him to prove to the world she wasn't barren and could produce children. So the Nazis didn't think she was like less than.
Oh.
Yeah. He also said later in life that he was kind of like Maria's husband, which I find fucking weird. Usually he did say it at the end of the sentence. He said like, I was the man of the house, but he was like, I was kind of like her husband, you know, the man of the house. But why would you say the husband part? Ugh. You know what I mean? Like,
Freud, man. It's not Freud stuff, you know?
Yeah, you just made it weird for every single mother ever. Thanks, dude.
I guess it's just sorry, but I mean,
I mean,
why do you want? If you get older and Jack starts calling you his wife, is that weird?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I'm gonna shut that shit down pretty fast, honestly.
Yeah, that's just weird. I don't know. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm not a single mom, especially Nazi Germany single mom.
Grow up and get yourself a wife that didn't birth you.
Exactly. Joe was known to be a good student, described to be one of the best pupils in his class. After primary schooling, he went off and got a degree in electrical engineering. Sometime in 1955, Joe meets his future wife, Rosemarie. They met at a cafe, and a week later, Rosemarie was bringing by this house to meet the family. I guess this is normal speed back then. Like, fuck, man. She was 16. He was her first boyfriend. And then a year later, they're married. She was 17. He was 21. Yeah, I guess. But I mean, I've done a lot of these historical episodes where like he was 45 and she was 16. And you're like, man, they're bad. Like, this is at least good for back. That's not
Just
that bad.
let it go. He wrote The Raven.
I'm sorry, I can't.
I was gonna make he cut his ear off reference, but I guess wrote the Ravens the same joke, right?
She's talking about Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, I mean, but I was gonna do a Van Gogh thing because he did the same thing.
Oh, did he actually?
I mean, I think he married a cousin or something. It's the same ballpark.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
do a Van Gogh episode one day. I know he's got some fucked up shit, like he cut his ear off and shit. But what did he do with that after?
He mailed it to her.
Are you
He
serious?
gave it to a woman. Yeah.
Put a stamp on that shit.
Might actually do something about that because I've never read any. I know that's a story. I just don't know any context. But that's cool. That's interesting.
I wonder if Mike Tyson's a Van Gogh fan.
Yeah. He's selling weed gummies now that are shape of bitten ears.
I know. I was like, too soon.
It's only been 20 years, man.
Too soon.
Come on.
bro.
Did you even ask Holyfield? Probably not, douchebag.
But Holyfield was the head button motherfucker. He deserved that ear bite.
Hey, man, we all deserved it. We got what we deserved with Mike Tyson. A lot of entertainment.
I love that man.
I think he's I'm sorry, I'm tangenting here, but I think he's probably the most famous person in the world.
I also think that he's probably gets like the least likely to turn it around award, but he did it anyway, you know?
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's like the only person who I know that can get by. Like, I know he did his time and everything, but he's fucking convicted rapist, but he's fucking beloved.
I'm pretty gung ho on like the believe the lady situation, but I don't know about this one. Have you read that story?
I have not. I just know that he has that on him. So maybe I'm being ignorant right now, and there's more to it.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that you. I'm just saying that I think she said that he forced oral on her. Like he went down on her, and she didn't want him to. He admits to a lot of stuff. I don't know why he would not admit to that. Everything else, he's like, yeah, I did it. I'm a piece of shit. Yeah, I did it. I'm a bad person.
Really?
Yeah.
I know he talks a lot, and he doesn't mind sharing his stories. I didn't know it was just about going down on a chick, and maybe he just doesn't agree though. Like I know what you're saying.
Obviously, it's wrong if
Yeah.
he did it. And I don't know. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Sorry. I brought this on myself.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's good for you to take a second and remind Richard that sometimes, black men aren't guilty. Richard.
Oh my God.
We're actually having a side chat going about how we're gonna repeatedly remind you that you're a racist person.
Yeah. Well, that's a constant. I'm not, but I get it all the time now, so I guess I am. All right. Sorry. Back from the tangent. Rosemary, on the other hand.
I'm sorry to interrupt you already. I was really
That's
fast.
okay.
You just started talking.
That's fine.
What year was he born again? Did you say 35, 33?
1935. Yeah.
Okay, that's a curveball. Yeah, that's a curveball in the year.
Yeah. They had a little bit of an age gap, but not terrible. They got married in 56. She worked in a kitchen. He was considered like a very smart person. And he found someone that he liked because she would be very subservient to him, which I guess is very normal for the times, but he had control of everything, which is what he wanted. She never had a boyfriend before, and he's smart enough to just like take control, and
Evil genius.
he just took advantage of her being dumb. That's all I'm trying to say. She's not smart enough.
Was he good looking?
In his day, I would say he's average looking man. Yeah.
Was she good looking?
I'm going to go with not so much.
She doesn't sound like it, yeah.
Not so much. But there's pictures of her, but she's like in her, like, I don't know. I've never seen like a young when she was like in her prime pictures. She was like older by the time the pictures I've ever seen of her. So maybe she would have been good looking, but I've never seen anything prime time.
AKA when she was 16.
Yeah. 17, they got married. I'm not a perv.
Oh, my bad.
So they had their first child in 1957. 1959, Joe's mom, Maria, moves in with the newlyweds.
Right.
She moves back in with her son and lives there until she dies in 1980.
This woman that never wanted to spend any time with him, she's like, I'm moving in.
The Austrian dream.
He was a very good businessman by the time she moved in. He owned like a little apartment building that had like 3 floors and 10 apartments. So she moved in with him in an apartment,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she still didn't have to spend any time with him.
Yeah, I bet you I'm going to tell you right now, they didn't spend much time together.
Yeah, that new tenant in the building.
Yeah. Professionally, Joe did very well for himself. Like I said, he stuck in the construction and engineering field until he retired at 60 years in 1995. From sales to manufacturing to design, he did all the different parts of the engineering and construction. He owned his big house, which was like an apartment building. Like I said, he had a bunch of real estate. That's how much, like, he was making a lot of money in Austria at the time, and he had a bunch of different real estate, a bunch of different tenants. That's how he could retire so early. He had a bunch of people paying rent, and that's kind of how he subsidized his family and all that.
That's the dream.
Amstetten, Austria is where he ended up planting with that house.
I think I know who it is.
Yeah, you think you know what it is?
Do I push a button or ring a bell? What do I do? Do I just...
Christy, put in a bell.
I don't care. You could say who it is. I'm just not going to answer if it is that person or not. So if you want to say it, perfect. But I'm not going to tell you if it's that person. We'll get to it.
Okay.
He also bought a guest house / inn type thing at a campsite on Lake Mondesi, and him and his wife ran that for 25 years as well while he was doing his construction stuff. He gave that up in 1996, so a year after he actually retired. So he retired fully. They had 6 or 7 kids. There's a lot of different, I think it's 7, but there's like 10 different places that have different answers for how many fucking kids this guy had. So I'm going with 7 because one of them were twins, I'm pretty sure. So he had 7 kids. All right, that's fucking lots of kids.
A lot of kids.
Yeah, I have 2.
I have 5 brothers, so.
Oh yeah, was it chaotic growing up?
Exactly. Yeah, yes it was.
Yeah, their daughter Elizabeth was the 4th born. Elizabeth was Joe's favorite daughter. He took especially great liking to her.
See the reason that we know this story?
She is part of the reason. Yeah. The story is more about her actually than about him.
I think I know who it is.
He wanted to be a good father to her. So his father left him when he was a kid, and he never felt like he had a father. So he didn't want any of that for his kids. He wanted to be a good dad, but he was strict.
Leave him. He went to war and died.
Not just a war, a Nazi.
Yeah. He got kicked out before the war anyway because he was cheating on his wife.
Yeah, but again, he didn't leave.
I bet he
Yeah.
did not see that coming. Huh?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
He had the structure in his life when he grew up. He didn't want to like do what his mom did. Like he didn't want to be that bad, but he looked at them like, I'm a successful man. Look what I did. My mom gave me that kind of structure. You guys deserve that too. I take that from this guy's mentality just for what comes. Even though he favored Elizabeth, when she got into her teens, she was the family trouble child. She was constantly skirting her parents' rules. Her parents would tell her to do something, she'd just go against it on purpose, basically being a teenager. And in 1982, Elizabeth finished her mandatory schooling and soon after entered into a waitress course. Now, I'm not really sure why Austria has waitress courses. That's what they're calling it. Maybe it's like a hospitality thing or something. But I've seen dudes that work at Starbucks with barista diplomas, so I don't know. She was 16 at the time when she started the waitress course, and then January, right after she started the waitress course in '83, Elizabeth runs away from home, putting Joe and Rosemary into a terrified frenzy. The police find her a few weeks later hiding at a friend's house in Vienna, which is about, I think it's 45 minutes away, 45 or an hour drive away.
Isn't that just called moving out?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, she was like 18 and done with high school and shit.
Until you're 19 or until you're 18, you're still a ward of your parents. So they went and found her at her friend's house an hour away. Yeah, she got home. She returned to the waitress course. But now her dad was talking like how she's the trouble child. She started getting a reputation of being the bad one, the runaway. Before it was just teenager stuff. Now she's like troubled and doing drugs and everyone's believing this stuff, right?
What kind of drugs?
Just drugs. She's on drugs. I got to save her for drugs. No, but it matters to us. But the thing is, that's what he's telling people. He's not going into specifics. Nobody's asking that. They just go, oh my, Elizabeth is such a bad girl. You know, I feel bad for you, right?
But I assume the key point is that she's a runaway.
Exactly. But he's adding all the other stuff. She ran away. How that must have been so scary. Good thing you got her back, you know. But he's offering this to anybody who asks. He's not trying to keep it a family secret. He's just telling like, man, oh man, she's the troubled one. She's my favorite, but she's the trouble.
How's the family? What kind of drugs are they doing? Wow, Elizabeth.
After she finishes the waitress course in '84, and she gets a job offer in Linz, which is another city that's close by. So she's like, I can move out now. Perfect. I'm getting a job. This is mid '84. So by August 1984, Elizabeth ran away again before she could start her life in the new city, waiting tables. She ran away for the second time. Remember this part of the story, okay? I just want you to remember this, where I'm going here.
Sorry. Why are you calling it running away? She's finished high school. Wouldn't that make
This
her?
is what her dad's saying. This is her dad saying she ran away again.
But she's 18.
She's
19.
She's 84. She's 18. She's 18 at this point.
I feel like one of us should have brought this up by now.
It's not running away when you're 18.
That's what they're called. That's what he's telling them.
What a psycho.
Yeah. So this is part of the story I just want you to remember. Okay. So when she ran away the second time, the mom, Rosemary, promptly reports her daughter missing right away. So then everyone started looking again. Police couldn't find her anywhere. No one in Linz had seen her. So that's when it started getting really worried. Like she didn't actually make it to her job yet. So now they're just beside themselves. Rosemary and Joe, they're just worried, sick, you know?
I bet one more so than the other.
Yeah. One's a little bit more sick than the other, I would imagine. And then about a month later, Joe and Rosemary get a letter that's dated September 21st, 1984, and it's postmarked at a post office from a nearby town. Now, it's the letter from Elizabeth, and according to the letter, she had enough of living at home, and she was safe living with a friend. Also, she warned her parents, do not look for me, or I'm going to leave the country. Okay?
This is definitely Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth wrote it. It's her handwriting. Her mom said it's her handwriting. She signed it the way she would normally. Joe was terrified now because he kept telling everybody she joined a cult. She's in a cult, guys. And everyone was like, my God, she is in a cult. Look at this letter. It's her handwriting. She doesn't want to be found. I don't know what to do. She's an adult now. She ran off to the fucking cult. So
The adult cult.
you know, she says, don't find her.
Oh yeah, all of a sudden now she's an adult.
Exactly. Police went, I don't know. She's not a missing person. She's missing. She has a handwritten letter. That's the end of that.
The power of the postcard in Austria, you know?
Yeah, exactly. The first postcard ever.
That's like face recognition postcards in the 50s or 80s or whatever. The Reagan administration.
Yeah. Her family missed her. She never came back though. But they did just hope that she was safe in that cult with her friends for 10 years. And they get no word from Elizabeth until May 19th, 1993. Joe and Rosemary have a box in their front porch.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Is it Gwyneth Paltrow's head?
Yeah, no, they open up the box and there's a baby inside.
A whole baby?
A whole baby, a 9-month-old baby girl. And beside the baby, sorry.
But you're about to say what's in the
good.
box of the baby, and that was more interesting than what I was going to say. So
I got you.
Yeah.
Beside the 9-month-old baby girl, there was a letter from their displaced daughter, Elizabeth, with no envelope or return address. The letter said, and I quote, "Dear parents, I am leaving my little daughter, Lisa. Take good care of my little girl. I hope that you are all healthy. I will contact you again later, and I beg you not look for me because I am doing well. You will probably be shocked to hear from me after all these years, and with a real live surprise, no less. I breastfed her for about 6.5 months, and now she drinks milk from a bottle. She's a good girl and eats everything else from a spoon." The end. So Joe and Rosemary are in shock, and they pick up their grandchild. So we're going to take her in. A year later, they ended up adopting Lisa. They were nearly 60 years old at this point.
no return address. So you think she really mailed the baby?
I think they think she dropped it off on their stoop. They looked out there and there was a box. She must have ran. She's close by.
But also, you know, there's no need for a return address. Then
Yeah.
I don't know if
so
maybe she mailed the baby. I don't know. Maybe she mailed the baby.
I have a quick question. There were 7 kids and she was the middle child, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So at what point did they have no more of their kids in the house?
it was hard to figure out. They still, when Lisa came, their kids were gone, I believe.
Okay, all the kids were gone.
Yes. I'm 99.
But they were still around when Elizabeth first left.
Yes. This is an Austrian case and there's a lot to it, but not their early lives. It's really fucking tricky because I'll get into why there's enough, but not like the specifics of the kids. None of them came. What happened later on, the courts say, fuck off media with this, leave them alone. And they get injunctions and shit not to be able to like go and bug the family. So it's hard to get, because why would anybody care about these people until this happened? So there's nothing dug up on them before this. So it's hard to get anything on them. You know what I mean?
I don't like that it was a letter with the baby. I feel like it should have been a postcard.
Yeah, exactly. A postcard with like, what's an Austrian fucking like something in the front, like you're just a landmark in Austria. I don't even know it.
Hey, what's an Austrian landmark for 600, Alex?
Yeah, exactly. Beep, beep, beep. I don't know. What is your fucking dumb? All right. So yeah. So they're nearly 60 years old when Lisa shows up at the door, but they adopted him. And a year or soon after the adoption, in December 16th, 1994, in the vestibule of their house, Joe and Rosemary find a baby in Lisa's stroller. Another one.
Okay.
Shut the
Yeah.
fuck up.
Sorry. Just another baby just shows up in the stroller. Okay.
Not long after Lisa's adopted.
Maybe you think Austrian stacking babies.
Like Russian nesting dolls?
Yeah. Yeah, they, like I said earlier, it's not really their house. It's like more of an apartment building. They have like tenants and shit. So whatever, they're like, what? Maybe this is someone, I don't know. So confused, Rosemary picks up the baby. And as soon as she does that, the phone rings. Rosemary goes and answers the phone, and she swears to God it's Elizabeth on the phone. Swears to God. All right. Elizabeth asks her mother to watch her second child named Monica. This is a quote. She says, "I just left her at your door." And then she hangs up.
Dude, this is the last time, Elizabeth. Stop leaving babies at our door. We'll take Monica, but fucking no more.
Stop leaving babies on her door.
You gotta draw a line somewhere.
She didn't even get a chance. She hung up too quick. She was trying. She was probably said, "No, this is the last bit." Clink. Oh, that bitch.
Terms. I have terms.
They were in shock about this. Rosemary was like, "What the fuck is going on right now?" Not because of the baby. The baby, sure, that was already the fucked up as it is. But Rose and Joe had gotten an unlisted number. They changed their number after when Elizabeth went missing. This was a pretty big story in Austria. So the media were hounding them. So they got an unlisted number. Nobody knew their number.
I feel like they're focusing on the wrong part of the story, man. They're focused on how did she get our number? Why is she leaving these babies at our fucking house?
Well, that was part of it. But I mean, Joe was more than happy to have them in.
How old is this baby?
This one here is 6.5 months, I believe.
So this is younger than the other one.
Sorry, this one here's 9.5 months, not 6.5.
Oh, so about the same.
Yeah.
So she abandons them right around 9 months.
Yeah.
I mean,
When
a
they
mother
start-
can only take so much, you know? Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are these gonna like just turn out to be like not even her babies? She's just been like snatching babies and leaving them there.
That would be a different story.
Frame her parents for kidnapping.
That'd be a funny. That's-
Revenge.
So the police wrote that down about because the mom said it a bunch. Like we have an enlisted number, so the cops actually wrote that down. That's in reports places. So how the fuck she find it out? So the cops start looking around. Who would know the phone number? Nobody's fucking seen Elizabeth. She can't be far. She's dropping babies off. She's not putting them through the mail. Where the fuck is she? So in the meantime, police can't find her anywhere. So Joe and Rosemary taking Monica, they don't adopt her, they foster her for some reason. I don't know why they don't just go into adoption, but they do that.
It's good to have an exit strategy, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a strategy.
Don't they make money if they foster it?
Yes.
Are they loaded though? They're pretty wealthy people.
That doesn't matter. Rich people are rich because they're fucking cheap.
Yeah.
He's a piece of shit. The third child was dropped off at their doorstep in 1996.
Shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
I just
Oh my
said
god, more babies!
another one was dropped off in a box.
Real
Yeah.
original.
Exactly. So a couple of years later, they got a third one. His name was Alexander, and Elizabeth's parents took him in, fostered him just like Monica.
They're gonna have like as many second generation kids as they had first generation kids at this rate.
At least she had a
Exactly.
decency to make it a boy this time.
So now they're watching the kids full time. They got a bunch of kids. They don't hear from Elizabeth for another 12 years. On April 19th, 2008, a 19-year-old
Is
girl,
it another baby?
a 19-year-old girl claiming to be one of Elizabeth's other children, shows up at the doorstep of her supposed grandparents' house.
Wait, what? How long has she been missing?
24 years, no one's seen Elizabeth at this point.
No one's seen her in 24 years.
24 years.
And then how old are all the other kids now?
The other ones are varying of age, but they're younger. This one here is a 19-year-old girl. The other ones are like 12. So one would be 12, 15, and 16 or something like that.
Okay, so she had like 4 kids in like that we know of in that like 10-year span. Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
She could barely walk and needed to be brought to the hospital immediately. She was sickly. She said she was having cramps, and she was biting her lips until they were bleeding. Joe called an ambulance and accompanied her to the hospital a couple hours later. So we put her in the ambulance, goes maybe 2 hours later to go see what's going on here. By the time she was at the hospital, she was unresponsive and in critical condition.
Oh my god, it's a good thing she didn't keep the other 3. Fuck.
Yeah. Without much to go on, the hospital didn't know what happened to this young woman. It was seizures, was there malnutrition, was some sort of genetic disorder. The girl showed up to her house. She was carrying a note. The note was from Elizabeth.
What did it say?
She said that she was this girl was one of her daughters, and her name was Kirsten, and she needed medical attention. That's all she said. So now they needed to find Elizabeth, because Elizabeth didn't say what the fucking problem is, what kind of medical problems there are. They need to talk to the mom or someone who knows.
Is
What's
she
going
just
on.
running a scam at this point now? She's like, dude, if I like leave a note at my parents' house, they'll do whatever. They'll pay your medical bills. It's just like some crackhead she knows.
Yeah.
She's like, show
I
up
also
there.
feel like having your go-to plan be find Elizabeth, but you haven't been able to find Elizabeth in 24 fucking years is maybe not the best go-to plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do this
Yeah.
thing we haven't been able to do this whole goddamn time and find her.
They have Elizabeth, who clearly wants her daughter to do well. So they figure now they could put out a call for her because she's going to come, because they put, dude, we can't help you. Obviously want to save her because you left a note on her. So the only way to save her is if you come here.
Yeah, but I'm saying she mailed her first baby. You know what I mean? She put her first baby in the goddamn mail. Just saying, I hate to bring up old shit and all that, but you know, she did mail her first baby.
Yeah, maybe she's just like the dumb like her mom. I don't know. All right. Police start looking for Elizabeth and extensively reopened the missing persons case, listing her as missing now, not in a cult. So 24 years later, they reopen the
Mutually
case.
exclusive. Mutually exclusive.
They start looking into the sect that they're talking about, the cult that they're talking about. The police deep looking into the cult. Joe receives a new letter from his daughter Elizabeth. So this is dated a couple months earlier in January 2008. But now I have this. The letter informs Joe and Rosemary that she had another 2 sons besides Kirsten. Their name were Felix and Stefan, that they haven't met yet. Felix and Kirsten were both sick recently with lots of seizures and such. They also had symptoms of paralysis, but it recovered. She also said that Kirsten, had many other health issues, but on the letter she said maybe Elizabeth and her 3 other kids would come visit soon. So we'll come tell you about it in person.
Wait, where's Kirsten at this point?
She's in the hospital.
In hospital,
Yeah,
right?
she's in the hospital right now.
So she's up to 6 now. 6. She's almost as many as her parents. Okay.
Yeah, she's up to 6 now. So this letter was postmarked in the town of Kermatin and der Krems. Oh, Jesus Christ, which is about 70 kilometers.
Yeah, I know some people from Kermetim Dam de Krems, and that's exactly how they say it. Exactly how they say it. Totally nailed it.
Thank you. Nailed it. It's about 70 kilometers away from Amstetten, which is fucking far.
I have no idea. Kilometers?
Yeah, sorry, that would be what in miles. 70 kilometers in miles would be, I don't know, 55 miles.
I was gonna say 47, but
40,
just
45. I don't know.
I was just randomly picking a number.
Yeah, but you guys need to get onto the efficient system. No offense.
How many kilometers was it?
It's 70 kilometers.
So she sent this letter from 70 kilometers
70
away?
kilometers away. Postmark from there.
Hey Siri, how many miles is 70 kilometers?
I forgot we have Americans who listen.
70 kilometers is 43.5 miles.
There you go. Yeah, pretty good. 43.5 miles for our Americans.
AKA reasonable people.
Okay, so we're up to 6 babies
Okay.
and she
just-
in a cult, but she's 70 kilometers
70
away
kilometers
right
away. And the police never really had a good lead until now. So now they go, oh, let's go search that fucking town, Kermatin Dander Krems,
It's 43 miles from here.
which is 43 miles away. So they're going out there. They go, they leave town to go check. I guess they're calling people too, I would imagine, but they're checking that town right now. And when they get there, they go to the hospital. They go, have you ever heard of anybody with these kind of symptoms? Have they ever been in here? We need to know what's going on. If we can't find the mom, maybe the hospital. No one's heard of her.
Where's the lady that gives birth every 6 months somehow?
Exactly. Have you seen some lady who has 6 children that have come through here?
A varying number of kids depending on who she's mailed recently.
That's true.
No one heard of her. No one's seen her in that town, Kermatin Van der Krems, or whatever it is.
Because that's not a fucking town.
It is. But I see a lot of underlining, which means there's a lot of red underlined red dots. Yeah. So no one there has ever seen of her. Police are baffled, and the days start slowly passing. Television stations are on the hunt for Elizabeth. Investigators don't believe in this cult now. They're like, there's no fucking cult. We looked everywhere. What the fuck is going on here? And a week later, after Kirsten showed up at her grandparents' house, Elizabeth and her other 2 children, Felix and Stefan, showed up at her grandparents' house.
Ta-da!
Support for Unethical Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Pube and grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code UNETHICAL20 at manscaped.com. Now, 4 million men worldwide, that's, if I'm not mistaken, 8 million balls, which is way more impressive sounding. Now, I want to tell you, I've ever since I got this Performance Package 4.0, I have been pumped. I'll tell you the truth right now. I don't really shave my pubes, and it's not because I don't want to. It's just because I have these weird growths in my pube area that kind of like protrude out of my skin. So every time I go down there to shave, I would be clipping them, nipping them off. So Manscaped was actually good enough to send us a package of goodies here. It's called the Performance Package 4.0. It's got a bunch of cool stuff in here. It's got the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. That's what I got around the growths with. It's got a light on it too. So I was surprised. I flicked on them. I was like, what's this button do? I was like, whoa, I can see the growth close up. But with their cutting edge ceramic blades, it reduces accidents. They got that skin safe technology. It's just the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. I don't have ear hair. I want to try it on my ears. If anybody has, maybe I'll go see my dad. I'll get him to, but I don't want to put it in his ear and then put it in my nose after. Just weird, but it worked good on the nose. I'm telling you, I feel like I'm actually getting the oxygen required to think properly, oxygenating my brain. They also sent me some crop preserver ball deodorant. Man, oh man, I never even knew I wanted ball deodorant. You know, I didn't even think my balls really stank, but like now, if I'm not wearing it, I can tell the difference. You know, I need it. Can people always smell my balls? And then there's the Crop Reviver toner, which I'm not exactly 100% sure what the toner's supposed to do exactly, but I'll tell you what it does do. It makes my balls feel great, slick, feel like tightening up, like they're going to get a six-pack. Your balls will thank you. And I love how Manscaped is trademarked. Your balls will thank you. So I thank you for that, Manscaped. They also sent me these boxer briefs, which I'm wearing right now. And my God, these things are really, really comfortable. I was like, everything's holding up pretty good down there. My balls are feeling good. Already feeling like amazing from getting lawn mowed downstairs. And the whole thing wraps itself up with the packet. Like it has a travel bag, little leather travel bag. It says Manscaped on the side. It's pretty nice. You can put all your stuff in there. And you got to shave your nuts on the go. You know, if you're going to a hotel, you know, you're going to have like a sexy time with the girlfriend or the wife. You want to just trim up, you just bring the Manscaped thing. She'll know what it's for, but like she'll appreciate that you're bringing it. I don't know, man. It's if you want to start taking care of yourself and make those guys downstairs feel a lot more slick and smooth, just go to manscaped.com. Get yourself 20% off and free shipping with the code unethical20. Your balls will thank you. I know it's trademarked, but I'm allowed to say it because I'm part of the team now. So your balls will thank you. Mine are right now. You're welcome. Yeah, I didn't really know I needed this until I got it. Now I realize what I've been missing. You know, don't be me. Be you. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code unethical20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off free shipping at manscaped.com using code unethical20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
There we are.
So they're all there now.
They're all there now.
They're living color fans.
Yeah, they don't end up at the hospital for a couple hours, and I'm unsure what happens between the next couple hours and them getting to the hospital, but I don't think it really matters. They do make it there. Joe takes his daughter to the hospital to go see her daughter, Kristen, and maybe figure out what's happening there. Hospital employees, they're not telling the police that they're here. They just go there to go tell the hospital. Well, the hospital notices Joe and Elizabeth come to the hospital and they fucking call the police right away. They're like,
wait, what? What?
The hospital workers see Joe and Elizabeth come into the hospital to go like talk to the doctor. They're not telling the police.
When did Elizabeth resurface? I missed that.
Just now with the two kids. She a week later, she shows up with two kids.
Okay.
Yeah, she was with them.
Okay, so this is the first time anybody's seen her in 24 years. She shows up with these two boys.
Yeah, Felix and Stefan. And they show up.
The kids that were sickly like Kristen.
One of them was.
Or Kirsten.
For sure.
Okay.
Yes, the hospital workers fucking see them. They're like, what are you doing? You got to call the cops. The cops don't even know. So they call the cops right away. Instantaneously, the cops get there and arrest Elizabeth and Joe because they figured out Joe's probably lying to them. There's no fucking cult anywhere.
They're a little fishy, Joe.
Yeah, we're gonna question you guys. All right. Now, the story I just told you was basically the story Josef told the police over the years.
So you just told us the lies of a madman?
I did.
And you did not tell us of this deception?
No, I didn't.
I don't feel deceived.
Well, I do.
Well, I'm sorry. Elizabeth had a different story.
Not Joe. Not Joe. Good guy Joe adopting all those babies that randomly appeared in the strollers. Not Joe.
Good old Joey.
Definitely her handwriting.
100%.
That Joe?
That's her handwriting for sure. And that's even with Elizabeth's retelling of the story. Elizabeth had a different story to tell. She was very not eager to tell the police anything. The only reason she even would tell the police promised her she would never have to see her father again. So remember when I told you she ran away the second time?
I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, I told you to remember from there. You remember that part?
Yeah.
Elizabeth isn't the fucking villain of the story. I kind of tried to make her sound like it. She actually gets Bush of the Week, guys. She's got a huge, nice, well-trimmed, manscaped bush. Unethical 20 at checkout. So before I go into Elizabeth's story, I got to tell you a couple other things that I kind of breezed over. Since 1981, a year after his mother died, Elizabeth's father, Joe, had been extending his basement. He had building permits saying he was doing it and everything. He had no tenants during that little bit of time when he was extending the basement. The permits for him to extend his basement to make a workshop. But what Joe was doing, he was building an underground prison. Remember I told you he was in construction? Well, he worked in concrete for a long time. He was a technical director for a company that was developing a machine to pour concrete pipes. A guy that worked with him there said that concrete was Joe's specialty. He could make anything. He knew this guy, but he didn't know anything about him. He knew he had a wife, but he didn't hear about his kids or his family or anything like that. He could have built anything himself out of concrete. This is what this guy says.
Richard.
He told the family that this workshop. Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Where did the babies come from,
We're
Richard?
about to get there.
No.
He told the family that this is a workshop and no one was allowed down there during construction or otherwise. Any tenants that would go down there would be instantly evicted. And he did it a couple times. People went snooping, he evicted them. The basement could be accessed from steel cellar door from the outside of the house and from the inside of the house. No one was allowed down there, not even the kids, not Rosemary wasn't allowed to bring them coffee. No one was allowed down there. That's all I'm saying. And on August 28th, 1984, we talked about this day earlier when Elizabeth ran away the second time. What actually happened was Joe asked his daughter to come up and help him move a door into his new basement renovation.
Richard.
Elizabeth probably.
Where did the babies come from, Richard?
Elizabeth probably. Elizabeth, her ears perked up. She was probably very curious as to what this weird request was because no one was allowed down there, but he asked her to help her. I'm going to go check this out just out of curiosity. So she went down, helped him carry the door down. She held the door in frame as he screwed it into place. Now his concrete prison was perfectly sealed. And as they admire their job well done, Joe comes up behind Elizabeth with an ether-soaked rag, knocks her out. Her father throws her into her new dungeon. 35 meters squared or 300 square feet. Elizabeth's father is Josef Fritzl. Now you probably know that name. The monster of Amstetten. Oh.
Where did the babies come from?
Okay.
The whole story about her running away the second time is his story. Like I said, I made up one of the best. Yeah, his story. I made up the whole he wanted the best for his kids. He did not. He was a fucking monster. One of the biggest monsters, like I said. I kind of breezed past a little bit of Joseph's history, so let me fill in a few gaps. His mother Maria, and all of Amstetten were all uber Nazi supporters. It wasn't like...
Wait, Uber is Nazi supporters?
Yeah, they're uber Nazi supporters. Big time. Yeah, Uber is...
I can't... look how sad she is.
They're not to this day, but they were back then. Hitler came to town in 1938. And when he came to town, the town named him an honorary citizen of Amstetten. That's the place this place was. Loved Hitler. His mom pushed him into the Hitler's Youth. She said, it'll be good for you. He probably would have joined anyway. But this is how Josef Fritzl grew up. Nazis. Long before any of the dungeon business, Joseph was always a piece of trash. Rosemary wasn't just subservient to Joseph. She literally had no say in anything. She put up with this guy for a lot over the years. Rosemary's sister said she often saw Rosemary with bruises all over his face. He was abusive.
Can you... what do we have to do to make you like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's tough. We can't.
Yeah, it doesn't get
Where
better.
did the babies come from, Richard?
It doesn't get better. This episode doesn't get better.
Just tell me where the babies came from.
I'm getting there. I don't want to. I don't want to say that my blow the wad thing is fun at all.
Joey's.
Fritzl would always work late, and in the 60s and 70s. What working late actually meant was he was driving his bicycle around town, looking into people's windows. He was a fucking peeping Tom. Got busted for it a couple times.
Peeping Thompson.
His wife put up a lot. He would take many solo trips to Thailand. So we can just imagine what the fuck he was out doing in Thailand.
Nothing nefarious goes on in Thailand. Yeah,
exactly. When I said
sex tourism.
Exactly. When I said he was strict towards his kids, when I said he was strict, I meant abusive. I just said that wrong earlier. I spelt it wrong on my script. When he came to the house, the kids, if they had friends over, they'd instantly have to leave. Do not fucking be around while Joseph's there. You're not allowed in the house. And if the kids wouldn't be silent, he'd beat their ass. If they didn't say please or thank you or did anything they didn't like, he'd just beat the shit out of them every time. One more thing. In 59, when Joseph's mom moved in with the newlyweds, remember that was true. I told you about that. She lived with them until she passed away in 1980. Remember that part? That was actually true. But little Joseph used to fear his mom when he was a kid, but not by the time she moved in. He fucking hated her so much that Joseph bricked her window in her attic where she lived after 1960 and told all the neighbors that his mother was dead. Bricked his fucking mom in the attic for 20 years until she died. I remember I said 1980 she died. 1981 he starts building a dungeon. I feel like there was something missing in his life.
Ew.
Exactly. He was the husband of the mom. I'm guaranteeing he was raping his mom. He was getting banged by his mom as a child. I don't know this for a fact. No, this has never come out, but that's my theory on this whole thing. His mom was banging him, and then he kept doing it until she died, and then he found a new raper. That's not official canon. That's just my speculation.
It tracks.
Now, here's what happened really according to Elizabeth. So here's what happened according to Elizabeth now. So now they got a little bit of the history caught up to actually what really happened. So remember when I said he took a shine to Elizabeth? He sure did. She was his favorite, not in a cute dad kind of way, though. Not in a daddy-daughter day kind of way either, though. Elizabeth told investigators that Josef started to rape her in 1977 when she was 11 or 12 and continued for the rest of her life. That's why she ran away the first time. That's why she started to end up being the bad child, labeled as the rebellious one on drugs. When she got back from being taken back from her dad, she told her friends she was being abused. Just no one could do anything about it because she was a minor and her dad was still her dad. It's Austria in the 70s. When she came back and finished her waitress course, she thought, fuck, finally I'm going to be free of my father.
But Josef had other plans.
Then he asked her for the door favor. Exactly. He wasn't only terrible to his family. I'll just give you a little bit more here. October 6, 1967, while Josef was in Linz, he snuck into a 25-year-old nurse's home. Not a nursing home, a nurse, 25-year-old nurse.
Okay, let's see. Why would you be 25 and in a nursing home?
Yeah, while her husband was away. And he raped her at knife point with a knife to her throat. He was accused of raping another woman a couple months later. He was caught and he spent 1 year out of a 1.5 year sentence for rape. I think this is where in jail, I think this is where he came up with the idea for a dungeon or something to hide them. Like he bricked his mom after this.
I'm not drawing any parallels there. Yeah.
Well, I don't mean him being incarcerated. I don't mean that. I just mean he was smart enough to know if I get caught again, I can't escape this. I should never get caught. So he thought of a way to I'll never get caught if I make a fucking dungeon or a room or something like that. I don't know that for a fact. That's not canon either. That's just, I read a lot about this guy and this is what I figure.
But where did the babies come from, Richard?
Well, we're getting there. There is one more account of him perhaps raping, but I'm not sure before this. It says he was attempting to rape a woman, but she fought him off and then he got up and he got on his bike and drove away yelling, "One day I'll get you," and just scared the shit out. Like the girl was too big for him. So he's like, "Fuck this, but I'll get you one day," and pedals off on his bike. But he was never caught again.
He's kind of caught at the end of this one.
Yeah, he was caught. He was caught later. He was very smart, like I said. But he also said he wanted a second wife, one that was more subservient than Rosalie, Rosemarie, one that would be at his whim at any time. And that's what his basement was for. And that's what Elizabeth was for. She was about to leave.
The babies are coming from inside the house.
Yeah, the call's coming from inside the house. Fritzl picked Elizabeth, and apparently none of the other siblings were molested or done in that way. Just Elizabeth.
To be. Don't do that.
Took a nice shine.
I'm sorry, that was fucking funny.
Yeah, after the ether rag, Elizabeth said that he then handcuffed her to a column for the next 2 days, raping her consistently.
But she was handcuffed inside the prison?
Yeah.
You would think the prison would be also the handcuffs, you know?
I get it. I think it's more about the weird control of handcuffs, you know? I don't think it's about she's already stuck there, right? But her not being able to even fight back, you know, nothing. She's under his complete control.
I wonder if he's owns his construction company, took off designing the H.H. Holmes man.
Yeah, exactly.
Evil places, you know.
Maybe
Jeffrey Epstein's island.
Yeah, maybe he took his cues from H.H. Holmes. Like his basement's just got upstairs that go nowhere and doors that open into fucking acid vats. If anything, H.H. Holmes was creative. Let's give him that. If we have to give him a compliment, it's creative.
Yeah, I mean, just the whole gas lines to everyone's room, you know.
Yeah, so I have to say this. Okay, so he handcuffed her, raped her for the next 2 days, kept her in the handcuffs. After that, he took her out of the handcuffs after the 2 days, and he put a leash on her so she had enough slack to go to the bathroom. She says she was leashed up for the next 6 months at least. It was hard for her to tell days. She didn't have a calendar, didn't have a watch, so she was hard for her to tell time. So she thinks that way. Meanwhile, I don't know if I have to say this a bunch, but he's raping her all the time, every 3 days or so. Comes in every 3 days to drop off supplies and rape. That's what I wrote here. She'd be left in a room by herself No one down there. Eventually, he brings her a calendar to watch because she complains about it. He thinks of her as his wife early on. She doesn't at all. She tries to escape a bunch, but no one can hear. In 1986, Josef impregnates his daughter, but she loses the baby after she has a miscarriage. Yeah, it was a late miscarriage. He just picked it up like it was garbage and threw it in the incinerator. By late 1987, early 88, not exact dates on this, Elizabeth is again pregnant with her father's child, which is a fucked up sentence for anybody to say.
His pullout game is fucking weak.
He wants to have kids with her. He tells her this. You are my wife now. We are going to have more kids. You must have my children. You are my wife. By the time
I don't want to know where the baby's.
well, now you asked for it. You're getting it. This time the baby comes to term and it's born on August 30th, 1988. Elizabeth's daughter, Kirsten, by herself in a dank basement with low ceilings. No one's there to help her go through the birthing process. All she has.
She had two kids named Kirsten?
Just the one. This is the one.
I was trying to give her, Celeste.
Yeah, exactly. Somewhere to like think about adult Kirsten. She's not. Oh wait, she's just as fucked up. She's in critical condition right now. Kid Kirsten. God damn it, it's a rape baby from her dad. I don't know which one to think about.
Yeah.
So what'd she do? Like chew through the umbilical like
she
a
had
wolf?
a scissor. She had scissors, and she got. Later on, we'll find out what he gives her. A couple things. He doesn't give her much. Elizabeth and Kirsten are living in the cellar while Grandpa Dad comes down and rapes Mom every other night. 1989, Elizabeth is pregnant again. February 1st, 1990, Elizabeth's second child is born, a boy named Stefan, with only a 2-year-old to help her with the birthing process. So the 2-year-old's there to help out.
By this point, the 2-year-old's pretty well versed, and this is like her third baby she's delivered at the age of 2.
Yeah, she's showing... Lamaze, Mom. Remember Lamaze?
I think Lamaze is Austrian. Is it?
Yeah,
From Austria?
Now it's time. All three of them living together in the cellar in this little baby apartment thing, low ceiling, fucking weird place, dungeon. Same cycles happening. Grandpa's coming down every 3 days to rape and drop supplies off in front of the kids.
How low is this ceiling? Like, can she even stand up in here?
5'6", so she can, yeah, but just barely. 5'6" is low ceilings. The only reason I keep mentioning low ceilings because it makes a difference later.
Makes a difference right now.
Well, that too, but there's a bigger, weirder, grosser thing that happens.
There's a much grosser impact.
Late 1991, early 92, Elizabeth is pregnant again. August 29th, Lisa, the third child, is born. This is the one that they bring upstairs. By now, there isn't enough room in the mini prison, and it's getting expensive buying food for 2 families. That's what Josef keeps thinking. Man, oh man, this isn't expensive. I got 2 families now. He finds out, like, oh, if I were to adopt or foster a kid, I would get a monthly check from the government. Also, more kids keeps Rosalie busy. She's not going to be asking about where am I going all the time. She's got shit to do. So let's make some money. So to make some money, Josef gets a good idea. Josef lets Elizabeth keep Lisa for 9 months, and then Josef puts her in a box. He makes Elizabeth write a note and puts it with the baby on the doorstep.
That's why there was no return address.
That's right. Remember I told you he was a felon because he had that rape charge, so he's not allowed to adopt children? Well, it doesn't matter because in Austria, after 15 years, your records get expunged, gone. So if you can last 15, murder, doesn't matter. The highest you can put someone in jail for in Austria is 15 years. Doesn't matter the crime. Didn't have a record, so everyone was like, that's his grandpa, so let her adopt. I first thing I thought, I was like, how can he adopt people? Because he's a raper. Oh no, it goes away after 15 years. So
I feel like you should hold on to that receipt,
Yeah, you feel like that should be a lifer,
You're gonna want to keep that visible where you can see it.
Yeah. So he gets the there's not much detail in his other crimes. That's why I kind of breeze over them quickly. I know he did the raping thing because the lady came forward later going like, I know that guy. He raped me in fucking 84 or whatever.
Plus the whole daughter raping for centuries thing.
Yeah, that's not
decades thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by 1993, after Lisa's brought to the upstairs, Elizabeth's begging her dad to make the prison bigger. Can you just give us a bigger, we'll live down here, just make it bigger, Daddy? And at this point, it's just one room and a bathroom. And apparently it stunk and it was rat infested. So after a few months of begging, Josef gives in. The only stipulation is that he told her kid that they would have to do it, the work. They'd have to do it by themselves. It wasn't because they were begging that he let them do it. It was more selfish. that he actually let them make their place bigger. He told the investigators later on, he was getting, it was starting to get gross. Like, I don't want to fuck. The kids are starting to get old. I can't just rape the mom in front of the kids anymore. It's getting weird. So he wanted to make a room for them.
It was inconveniencing him.
Yeah, he didn't want, it was weird for him now.
Oh, dude, every chance he gets to be fucking captain of the morality team, he really pulls through, right?
Yeah. Over the next couple of years, the 3 captive family members expand the cellar prison from 35 meters squared to 55 meters squared, which is 380 to 580 square feet. Little hallways to each room, like little fucking barely squeezed through these hallways. And they all dug this out by hand. He didn't give them any tools. So they were shoveling with their fingers, putting shit in buckets. So he would take out the bucket and pour this dirt out as he left.
They can't raise the ceiling, so
exactly. One room that he made was a soundproof rape room, or their bedroom, as he called it. He basically tunneled, like I said, made another room. So he has about 3 rooms now. They're all just little tiny rooms. By 1993, Elizabeth is pregnant again for the 4th time. Monica's born February 94. By the end of 94, in December is when Monica's found in the baby carriage in the vestibule. So she's had 4 kids. Those are the 2 got sent upstairs now. A person on the other end of the line that Rosemary swore Elizabeth, it actually was Elizabeth on the phone. But Josef made a fucking recording of her phone or of her saying shit, and he brought it to a payphone. So when the baby was found in the vestibule, he was at a payphone, like calling the house, playing a fucking tape recorder, going like, I left my kid on your driveway, mom, bye. So yeah, tape recorder with her voice. So she wasn't wrong.
I mean, I feel like she could have noticed it was recorded.
I agree, but I mean, when you want something so bad, sometimes, you know, like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how clear your mind's going to be.
When was Monica born?
1994.
I was looking for a loose coincidental connection, but I was off by a year.
Late 1995, you guessed it, Elizabeth's pregnant again. This time she was pregnant with twins. Alexander and Michael are born 28th of April, 1998. Michael, unfortunately, dies after only a few days after Elizabeth begged for him to get brought to the hospital. And Josef said, go fuck yourself. Figure it out. If it's meant to be, I forget what he said. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. That's what I think what he said to her.
If he go fuck yourself is not something that he can say.
Yeah, no, if it's meant to live, it'll live. If it's meant to die, it'll die. And when it died, he just picks it up like it's a piece of trash and throws it into the incinerator along with the other preemie that came out. About 15 months later, Alexander is taken upstairs and found like his little brother and sister had been before. No pregnancies for 5 years, but by early 2002, Elizabeth is pregnant again with her 7th child, I guess. Felix is born on December 16th, 2002. This is the only child Fritzl is present for. He actually stuck around to watch that one be birthed. The rest of them, she had alone in the basement, each one being born surrounded by more and more children. Fritzl makes Elizabeth keep Felix because he said he and his wife were too old for another one. He was 67 years old. They're going to have to make do in the cellar. Over the years, Josef would bring food, water, and other treats to the family underground. He brought them a TV and a VCR, which was for him, not for really them. He would bring it and he would use it to force Elizabeth to watch porn with him, like hardcore porn. And then they'd have to recreate the scenes after while the kids are running around. They're all malnourished. All the kids were malnourished. They had no sun, missing teeth, scurvy, pale skin. Like I said earlier, the ceilings were low, 6.5 feet. But Stefan was so tall, he could never have stood up straight while he was down there. He was hunched.
That was 5.5 feet.
Sorry, 5.5. I said 5. I wrote 5.5, but I said 6.5. But yes, 5.5 feet. Stefan was too tall. I think he's 5'9", so he always crouched. Elizabeth's hair was almost white when they found her. Like, she's 42 years old. Her hair was white. The downstairs family never had more than 1 blanket, a bottle of disinfectant, a supply of nappies, a pair of scissors, and a medical book to help in her childbirth.
Scissors. I don't like those scissors.
At trial, Fritzl's lawyer tried to make Josef look good by saying that he wasn't the worst dad. He brought a Christmas tree down during the holidays, so that was nice of him.
Who said this?
This is what his lawyer tried to argue at his trial, that he wasn't the worst. Don't worry, he's not that bad. He brought a Christmas tree.
I wish Bob was on this episode all of a sudden.
Elizabeth tried to make the best of what she had, teaching the kids how to read and write, run around, walk around, manners. This lady did what she could to her parents, and she never told the kids what was actually going on. She never said that we're just locked down here. I'm being raped every day. She kind of like tried to shelter them from the fucking terror that was their life.
Fortunately, she had to do so in a 380 square foot cell.
That's weird.
580 by the time they were done, by the time they were older. But yes, it's very small little
So
dungeon.
she actually, like, the daughter, the Kirsten or whatever, like that would have been the first time she ever went outside, like, and was in an actual world. Like that would have freaked the shit out of her. It's amazing she made it to the front door.
Like Bane.
Yeah. Well, the cop said when Felix, he was like 6 or 7, I believe, when they finally got him. It may have been a little 6. Yeah, 2002, April 2008. So yeah, he was about 5 or 6, and he just kept looking at the star. They said it was so cute. He's like, "This is fantastic." Like, what? He's like, "The moon's real." Like, you know what I mean? He just like never saw anything. He saw it on TV because they had the TV. Anyways, we'll get to it. Like they saw enough. They knew things existed. But they never really, there's porn, but there was also TV. He didn't want to be a dad on top or bottom. Let's put it this way. Whatever house. He wasn't going to parent. He's not playing catch with them. Here, watch the TV. I'm fucking your mom.
It's awkward. We're in 3 different places and it's awkward in here.
Yeah, that's okay. Things continued the way they were until April 2008. Kirsten, the oldest of Elizabeth's children, starts to get sick, and Elizabeth begs Fritzl to let her go to the hospital. Kirsten had been passing out randomly lately, and she was having many seizures. Kirsten passes out that night, the night that he lets her out. Josef panics and he gives in. I don't know if I think it's selfish too. I think he's like, throwing a baby in an incinerator is one thing, but like dealing with a 19.
Yeah, I can't get rid of a full grown body.
Yeah, 19-year-old girl is a little different. So I don't know if that's, or if maybe he's getting older. Because there's also like, I heard in other places that he was starting to not find Kirsten or Elizabeth attractive anymore. So they think he was starting to groom his daughter.
Gonna say that shit. God damn it.
Yeah, so I think that's the secondary reason he let her go to the hospital, because she has to survive this. I'm done with Elizabeth. I gotta start raping the young fucking one now. So I'm not sure if that's exactly what it was. That's not canon either. That's just, I read a lot about this, so I feel like I'm telling the truth.
But there should be some sort of like menopause that takes place.
Yeah, not when you're fucking psycho. I'm sure it slowed down. You know what I mean? I'm sure it wasn't every 3 days anymore, but it was still happening. So Joseph stages the return of Kirsten so that he can get her to the hospital. And when the hospital is looking for answers from Elizabeth, he stages her return a week later. Like, wow, she showed up now. Here's the story. And this is the story Elizabeth promised to tell the police if they agreed they would never let him see again. The police were baffled and arrested him that very same night. It's estimated that she was raped over 3,000 times by her father over the 24 years she was hidden in the basement. More specifically, it was 8,416 days she was locked in the damp, moldy, rat-infested basement. Why didn't they ever try to escape, you ask? The cellar door access was so heavy that it would be nearly impossible to open from the inside without help. The one door that went outside, and then the other door he locked with a contraption to the wall beside it. And every time he left, he'd fiddle with it like a little keypad or whatever. And he said, if you guys try to mess with this door, it'll gas you or it'll electrocute you. So don't fucking touch the door or you're dead. I'm pretty sure it did nothing at the end of it. They went and checked and it was just him using mind fuckery with them. Like then they lived in pure fear of him their entire life at all times. The tenants would sometimes say they heard things coming from beneath them. And Joseph would talk them down by saying it was a new furnace or it was old pipes or the house was shifting or I'm in the basement working on something or something. He was charged with the following: murder by negligence for Michael, enslavement, which was good thing they got him on that. There's a weird law that no one's been charged with in Austria for a long time, was the enslavement one. Incest, rape, coercion, grievous assault, and false imprisonment.
Sentenced to 15 years.
He was brought to trial in March 2009, where he pleaded guilty for all charges except for the murder of Michael and the grievous assault by threatening to gas the family, because he denied ever doing those two things. On the first day of court, the jury watched the many hours of taped interview Elizabeth had done with the police. She laid out the entirety of her abuse over 11 hours of interview. Day one would have been tough on the jurors, I would imagine. March 18th, 2009, day two of the trial, Elizabeth comes to court. She wasn't going to come to court originally, but she was writing a book about her ordeal, and she wanted to see some of the trial for color and to like watch him go to jail. He wasn't even supposed to know she was there, but he did notice her. And when he did notice her, he broke down into tears in court. And the next day when he came in for trial, he changed his plea from not guilty to guilty. The 74-year-old Fritzl, who had been sexually assaulting women for over 4 decades, if not longer, was finally going to jail. This case was gigantic. Press from all over the world was in St. Polton, a small town near Amstetten, where they had to move the trial to because they couldn't do it and it couldn't get an impartial jury in their own town. Probably nowhere, but it's the same Gacy thing where they had to move counties or whatever.
Yeah.
With the large media presence in the town, the local businesses had a field day. Hotel rooms were quadrupling in price. Bars were applying for 24-hour liquor licenses because they heard journalists like to drink. A local restaurant was even selling a thing called a Fritzl schnitzel until the mayor threatened to denounce them publicly if they didn't take it off the menu, which they did. They were like, well, I'm just trying to make money. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. And the mayor's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Don't do that. Like, wow.
I'm just trying to exploit this girl's fucking 24-year horror story. While journalists are in town. What? What's wrong with that?
Yeah. What's worse, the fucking hundreds of people that bought it right after too. Like, oh, the Fritzl schnitzel, that looks good. Want to bite of my Fritzl schnitzel? They're all laughing about it.
This is the official Fritzl schnitzel rapper.
He got life in prison, pleading guilty to murder by negligence for the death of Michael, incest, rape, coercion, theft of liberty, and false imprisonment. He ends up in a facility for the criminally insane.
Oh, piss off.
This ends up better, though, because in Austria, you get 15 years for life. That's it. You get out most crimes. But if they put him in a facility for criminally insane people, they can hold him until he's cleared of his insanity.
Which I'm going to go on a limb here and say that would likely never happen.
I feel like they'd kill him in prison. A lot of prisoners are fathers.
Yeah, they put him there, like I said, so he can't get released. Elizabeth and her children changed their name for the trial, and she moved into an undisclosed village with all 6 of her children. Elizabeth and family's relationship with Rosemary is strained, but they're trying to make it work.
Fucking bet it is.
Yeah, Elizabeth and myself, frankly, have a hard time believing Rosemary did not know anything.
Of course she did. Of course she did.
She must, of course. She was just scared, but I mean, that's not an excuse. Those are your kids.
I mean, this is my house. She'll listen to my rules type of situation. She knows what the fuck's going on in that house.
Oh, for sure. Guaranteed. I agree, man. Like 100%. She definitely knew. There's no way she didn't. That's 24 years of like, she's in a cult, right? Yes, master. I mean, Josef.
Joseph, he's raping her too.
Oh, for sure. Rosemary did file for divorce from her husband after she was put into jail. But Fritzl said, no, you're not divorcing me. We're going to rekindle this. He thought he was going to rekindle things with his fucking horrified wife. Eventually, a couple of years into being in prison, he did agree to the divorce because she never visited him once. He's like, well, if she's not coming here, I'll divorce her. Lost to her, loser.
Dude, mom issues go hard, bro. Mom issues go fucking hard. What the?
She now lives in an little apartment in Linz by herself, penniless, selling her crafts on Etsy or Marketplace.
Fucking everybody's got an Etsy.
She's just living by herself. The upstairs kids and the downstairs kids have been in therapy for various reasons, as you can imagine. The upstairs kids needed to come to terms with the fact that their father lied and their mother didn't abandon them at birth. Father, grandfather, whatever that was. And the downstairs kids needed help to adapt to light. They never saw actual sunlight before they got out, and their eyes were fucked. Open spaces were very bad, like being in like able to walk.
What's the opposite of claustrophobia?
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah. Not to mention the malnutrition, lack of schooling, being deprived of everything, basically.
Incest.
Yeah. Yeah, incest, exactly. But being deprived of everything but incest. They said that they're getting along, the upstairs kids and the downstairs kids, in the shared home in this mystery village. Elizabeth apparently is dating one of her bodyguards, Thomas Wagner, who's 23 years younger than her. Austria took care of them. They gave her bodyguards for the media. I hope they kept her secret, her location secret. They said no photos.
Kevin Costner, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I will always love you. One big problem Elizabeth has been with the paparazzi. They found her a couple times and taken pictures. One time they bust into her kitchen. No one had seen her in 24 years. At one point, the paparazzi had $1 million was being offered for a fresh photo of Elizabeth. So paparazzi were being assholes. So Elizabeth and her kids were given new names by the Austrian courts, and they're protected from the media entirely. It's illegal to take pictures, font them down like that. In 2003, the cellar of the house was filled with concrete after someone bought the place. Before this, though, between 2008 and 2013, the rooms were still being rented upwards of $900 American for these little fucking flats. So the weirdo creeps were going there to be like, this is where Fritzl had his little rape dungeon. Yeah. So in 2016, the house sold to a developer who plans to make apartments out of it. So they're going to fucking smash her down, which is good. 2017, Fritzl changed his name to Josef Meyerhoff, Mayrhoff, Mayrhoff, because of all the hate he gets in prison and in the media. He was also punched out in jail and lost a bunch of teeth. So good for you, you piece of shit. Fritzl has yet to show an ounce of remorse, telling journalist Mark Perry in a jailhouse interview that he should look in the cellars of other people and he might find more people locked in basements. He's not the only one. You just go check my neighbor. He's got the same thing.
From jail, you're saying other people do crime. Yeah. Idiot. You're surrounded by people. You know what I mean? What a fucking, I hate him. I don't like him at all.
This brings back the 15-year stupid rule. This is where I'm going to go back to the 15-year stupid rule the Austrians have. In 2022, the court decided, in 2022, this year, the court decided that Fritzl or Meyerhoff or whatever the fuckface we're calling him now should be moved to regular prison.
He's still alive?
He is. So they say he should go back to regular prison. But then if this happens, Josef could apply for early release as early as 2024 for serving his 15 years. Prosecutor's office tried to block the decision, and now Fritzl has to go through a psychiatric evaluation to see if he is mentally stable to be sent to the regular prison. So if he does, and he gets out after 15 years, that would be 9 years less than his daughter was imprisoned by him. He's nearly 87 years old and showing signs of dementia, so it's doubtful that he'll be transferred anyway. I just wanted to scare you guys. And that is the story of our fucking asshole, Josef Fritzl. You're welcome.
I don't like this.
I think I broke Celeste. She stopped talking after she found out where the kids were from.
I can't stop looking at her.
To add to your other question, Celeste, he did have the same amount of daughters with her, 7, or just kids. They had the same amount, not one less.
So that's when he stops being attracted to them. 7 kids.
I mean,
amen.
In his defense,
I'm just kidding.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Yeah, he's not that bad. Some men leave after 4 kids.
I'm just joking, but my God. What a fucking psycho. I legit think this guy's one of the worst people that's ever lived. Like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, I did not like this one. I did not care for this one.
I can't fix this one, man. I can't. Yeah. There's nothing. There's not funny enough. I can't. What do you do? What do you do with this information? You know.
This wasn't like, wow, human psychology is fascinating, and there were like, you know, innocent bystanders that had to die, but what a fascinating look into the human psyche. This was just bullshit. This was just fucking garbage.
Why wouldn't you just tell her where the babies were coming from?
I don't like where the babies came from.
You're not alone. You're not alone in that system.
I'm a big believer in nature over nurture, or nurture over nature.
Same.
But I mean, sometimes you just hear a story. Like, I get it that he got beat and everything like that, but a lot of people were treated that way and don't fucking tie their kids up and put them in the basement like that.
Yeah, like Elizabeth, who was treated exactly like that and demanded that her kids get medical care and took care of them in a tiny fucking room and cared about them.
Exactly. So like the nature thing pops its head up a lot of the time, and I don't know what to, like, that's just pure evil. That's fucking, that guy's evil.
I wonder what percentage of evil is also insane, you know, because like when you say that he doesn't realize, or he never admitted to doing anything wrong, the only way that that's possible is if he doesn't think that it's wrong, and you can't be like a fucking sane person and not realize that that's horribly wrong.
I think if you were raised in entirely Nazi culture, I think that it's possible you might be able to justify it.
Every culture's lunacy seems sane to members of that culture.
Because that's how the Nazis were programmed to think about people.
Really.
Jews and
not usually they're you know, of the like.
Yeah, sanity is based upon who wants to say what's insane and what's not. Like, if this was 500 years ago and he was a king and he had a fucking concubine locked in a basement making her have a kid, that would be okay for him and no one would think he was crazy because he's king. Probably people think he was crazy, but I mean, it was just a different norm.
You wouldn't need a dungeon. Class
and fucking time period and everything, crazy changes all the time. So that's what I'm saying. This nature,
yeah,
I feel like that guy's just evil. I don't care if he was born. You know, like, and that's, to me, that's the interesting part for this is like, I don't really believe in nature side. Like, I do, but I feel like nurture takes over way more. This one's the total nature, I think. Like, that's what's crazy about it to me. It's wow, how do you get so fucked up and still at the end of it all go, you're wrong, I'm okay.
I realize it is bad enough that I have to change my own last name in prison, but not enough for me to admit that I did anything.
But it's
wrong.
only so you don't get punched in the face anymore.
Totally.
It has nothing to do with being feeling bad. It's just I don't like the bad press.
I did not think it was remorse at all. It's just like he has to, like, none of it is like an avenue that he chose to take for like in realization, you know. It's like, okay, well, I'm not wrong for raping my daughter for 25 years.
More than 25 years. It was like 30
Was
years
it 30 years?
Yeah.
because she was 12 when he
77.
started.
1977 he started to 2000, so 32 years. Yeah, 31 years.
This fucking guy. But he didn't rape any of the kids, at least his grandkids.
Apparently no. Apparently no. And I tried to dig at that a lot. Apparently she was the only one. And I've heard a couple other people write and say that he was probably grooming Kirsten, which I agree with.
How old was the oldest?
19. They spent 19 years, their first 19 years of their life, not seeing the sunlight. Like,
Not seeing the sunlight.
Well, that sucked.
yeah, I knew it was going to be a bad one.
That hurt.
Oh yeah, thanks for. It's gonna be a battle. Let me call Darren, and we'll be minus a person, so it'll just be a more intimate setting. It'll be great.
Yeah, he was like, "What am I joking around about today?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "I'm keeping it a secret." So he's like, "Oh, good, I could be sarcastic about
Just
anything."
a little kidnapping, imprisonment,
Fans
incest.
directed.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, but it's gonna be awful, and I won't even say it. It'd be just for that purpose, and I'm not doing that.
No, but we can make fun of Fritzl. Like, have you ever seen Fritzl? You ever see this fucking guy?
Does he look like a schnitzel?
He's scary looking. I don't like him.
Ew.
Yeah, he's creepy. And there's a documentary that I watched. What's it called? Fritzl, a monster or something. It's legitimately something like that. Fritzl, the monster.
Real bad.
Austria, real bad dude. But anyways, they have like her Rosemary's sister on there talking, and they have like his best friend who has a bunch of footage of them in Thailand together on vacation.
You knew
Rosemary's a bigger girl.
a sturdy gal.
Yeah, sturdy gal. And he's out there buying like a sundress for like a skinny fucking. So where's he bringing that? Does he come back from? He would leave enough food. That was another thing that I didn't talk about that I did come across. He would leave enough food for them for 3 days or whatever. But if he went on vacation, he would just give them a bunch of food. And by the time he gets back from his fucking Thailand vacation, hopefully they had enough. And they're like, the cops are like, how come what would have happened if you would have like an accident or something? You would have died on vacation and nobody would have known they were there. It's like, I don't know. They would have figured it out. They always do. He would have just sealed them in the basement. No one would have ever found them.
I think he's gone above and beyond to prove that he wasn't really concerned with their well-being.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to me.
There will be no exception. He will not care about their well-being.
Yeah.
That's crazy. He had so many daughters. I wonder why he picked her. Maybe she was the strongest willed of them all.
A lot of people say that she was the prettiest, but I'm like, that's subjective, man. What does that mean?
Well,
Like, you're just saying
him.
that to say that. To him, I get it, but I mean, did he ever
I don't
say
think
that?
so. Objectively, like there's a family photo of all of them, and they all are about equal attractiveness.
Well, that's exactly.
I'm going to choose to not rate them on an attractive scale.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it's more because everybody else, I think it was probably a personality thing because you said they heard that she was like sharp and she was quick-witted and she would talk back even as a kid.
That's because she's the strongest one, and he was like a challenge.
Yeah, so he wanted to beat her talking shit out of her, and it never happened. Then he starts molesting her, and then she's still fucking worse. Like, it's not subduing her enough. This guy's a control freak, like most crazy serial killers are, right? And I seriously don't. There's another case that they're trying to link to him at the hotel that he owned, the inn. There's nothing ever stuck on it though, but I do sincerely believe he murdered others. Like, I believe he murdered someone at that.
100%. That's like with all that Gacy shit that keeps coming to light. It's like, why would you doubt it?
Yeah, no, Josef Fritzl's a piece of shit. Austrian, fuck you, Austria. I know you gave it Schwarzenegger, and Schwarzenegger is a fucking gem. You got his Fritzls too. Actually, Schwarzenegger, to bring up, maybe this will be a good way to end this, but Schwarzenegger and a bunch of other Austrian celebrities gave a bunch of money to Elizabeth and them so they would never have to worry another day of their life. And hopefully Schwarzenegger gave her the whole spiel, gave her the whole go get your nails did and get your teeth replaced, because I know you never brushed them before or you never seen a dentist before. I hope they got the whole thing.
Hopefully it wasn't like family money that he sent her. Schwarzenegger.
Gee, here's money. Just don't tell everyone Uncle Fritzl was I'm Uncle Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Everyone in Austria is related, or
no? He's just because it would be like Nazi money.
Oh yeah,
yeah. His family.
I'm glad that most of them are still alive.
Nazis.
At the same time, like
the Nazis.
That's a lot to live
Most
with.
of them are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine living with that. And do you think Rosemary knew anything?
Yeah, I definitely think she knew.
Yeah.
I think that a mother and daughter have a certain kind of relationship, especially when they're both like battling against the same like villain in their life, which would have been Josef for both of them. They would have had a probably a close relationship, and I just don't think that she would believe it, that Elizabeth would bail and never talk to them, or that Elizabeth would abandon her kids there.
Plus, how many times did she say it was definitely her on the phone?
Or have kids without her there. I think
Yeah.
would be a big part of it too. Like as a mom, I feel like your daughter, when they have their first kid, they go to their mom. I get it if you run away and be free for a little while, but I feel like when a baby came along, you'd reach out to mom.
And not just drop it off on the doorstep.
Yeah. No, that right there, like, let's pretend she believed until the baby came, and then after that, she must have had questions, right?
That's
Like,
another thing that I was gonna say. If Elizabeth had a baby and genuinely couldn't take care of it, the last fucking place she'd send it is to Joseph. And Rosemary would know that.
But Joseph was like well respected around town too. I didn't really hammer into it too much, but like on their golden wedding anniversary, which would have been in 2007, the year before, they had like the whole town came up. The mayor was at their house while she was downstairs with fucking 3 kids. You know what I mean? Like, this guy was such a psychopath, such a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, well,
Their ability to mimic normality is like every time it's frightening. It like scares the shit out of me every time.
yeah, like this is like Gacy vibes, same thing.
Yeah, there's
right?
like surprised element is like so like no like because there's serial killers like Dahmer where you're like his fucking parents knew, like his dad was like, yeah, I probably should have seen that one. But then there's like Ted Bundy's and Gacy's and shit where people are like, hey, it was the best thing ever, and like even after they're arrested, they're like, we don't believe him still. What else? It's like, what? They dug up 90 people under his house.
There's DNA all over his face.
He confessed. Like when does the doubt no longer like given as a benefit?
Oh, jeez, I'm tired, Richard. That one hurt a
Yeah,
lot.
cool. I was having a good day, and now this sucks.
I need a while.
I put a fucking tie on.
And
this
I'd feel
bullshit.
a little bit better about it if our next story wasn't also incest. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Unethical Podcast. If you're not in the Facebook group, stop being such a silly goose and come find us at UNETHICULT, the official Unethical podcast group. If you find you just can't handle the anticipation until the next episode, then it's a great time to join our Patreon, where we have a ton of extra unethical content, and of course, our brother podcast, Private Dicks. And in case you didn't hear the good news, Private Dicks is now Public Dicks. Every 2 weeks, an episode of Season 1 will drop wherever you eat your podcasts, and our lucky Patreon patrons are literally living in the future, listening to new episodes from Season 2. On the fence about it? Have a listen to the trailer and see what you think. If you've got a case, big or small, give the Private Dicks a call. And yes, the phone number is real. Enjoy!
Have you got a mystery that needs solving?
Where is Amelia Earhart?
We know.
Who the hell was DB Cooper?
Ah, easy.
Bermuda Triangle?
Probably solve that one next.
Here at Private Dicks, we guarantee a mystery solved every episode.
That's with a capital G.
Every second Friday, the Private Dicks take a client, record their session, and solve the world's greatest mysteries.
One by one.
Private Dicks solve them, no problem. God, I love just crushing mysteries. Search up Private Dicks on your favorite podcatcher, and you can solve a mystery too.
The mystery of what's your favorite podcast?
It's Private Dicks. Another one solved.
If you have a mystery to be solved, call 1-855-PRVT-DIX. That's 1-855-PRIVATE-DICKS.
Call 1-855-PRIVATE-DICKS and leave us the rundown of the case. Maybe the Dicks will solve it.
855 Private Dicks.
Because I'm straight when it comes to humans, but fucking gay from old people.